My sister Vanessa arrived 30 minutes late to my son Ethan's 10th birthday dinner, wearing designer heels and sunglasses like she was attending a celebrity event instead of a child's party. The kids were laughing over paper hats and crayons. Ethan had spent the entire week talking about this dinner. Vanessa walked in, looked around the restaurant once, and sighed. "This is the place you picked." The table went awkwardly quiet. I smiled politely. "Ethan likes it here." "Of course he does," she muttered while opening the menu. "Kids don't know quality." Her husband chuckled immediately, like he always did whenever she insulted someone. I ignored it. For years, Vanessa had turned every family gathering into a performance. She criticized houses, clothes, jobs, parenting, anything that made her feel superior for 5 minutes. And somehow everyone kept tolerating it because confronting her was too exhausting. The waiter arrived. Before anyone else could order, Vanessa pointed at the top shelf section of the menu. "I'll take the lobster platter, extra butter, and bring your most expensive red wine." Her husband added steak and oysters right after. I looked down at the menu prices for a second, then at Ethan. My son was sitting beside his cousins wearing a cheap paper birthday crown, grinning while explaining the rules of a card game he invented himself. He didn't care about expensive food. He just wanted everyone together. That's when I realized something uncomfortable. Vanessa knew exactly what she was doing, because she always did this when someone else was paying. Every birthday, every holiday, every family dinner. She ordered the most expensive things possible, acted unimpressed the entire night, then left without even pretending to reach for her wallet. And people allowed it because keeping peace was easier than setting boundaries. Dinner continued with Vanessa loudly reviewing everything like a food critic nobody asked for. "The wine's acceptable. This place tries too hard to look classy. You should really book somewhere nicer next year. Ethan's getting older." I stayed calm. No arguing. No defending myself. No tension. The quieter I became, the more she kept talking. Then the bill arrived. Vanessa casually slid it across the table toward me without even looking at the total. Like it was automatic. Like my role in life was simply to absorb her behavior. I stared at the check for 2 seconds. Then I looked at the waiter and said calmly, "Could we do separate checks tonight?" The entire table froze. Vanessa slowly lowered her wine glass. "What?" "For our side only," I said politely. We ordered burgers, fries, and the birthday package. Her husband finally opened the bill folder, and the color disappeared from his face instantly. That's when I knew something had finally changed. Not at the table. Inside me, Vanessa stared at the bill like the numbers might magically change if she kept blinking long enough. Her husband leaned closer, whispering something sharp under his breath while flipping through the receipt again. The lobster platters, imported wine, oysters, extra sides, nearly all of it belonged to them. "This is ridiculous," Vanessa finally snapped. "You invited us." "I invited you to Ethan's birthday," I said calmly, "not to spend half my monthly grocery budget." The table went silent again. A few relatives suddenly became very interested in their phones. Others avoided eye contact completely. Nobody wanted to step into the tension Vanessa had created herself. She forced out a fake laugh. "Wow, over a dinner bill? You're seriously embarrassing yourself." But the strange thing was, I didn't feel embarrassed anymore. For years I'd stayed quiet because I thought peace meant tolerating disrespect. But sitting there beside my son, watching him carefully pretend not to notice the argument at his own birthday dinner, something inside me shifted. I was done teaching him that kindness meant allowing people to use you. The waiter stood awkwardly beside the table, holding the payment machine. Vanessa's husband finally pulled out his card with the same expression people have while signing insurance paperwork after a car crash. and that should have been the end of it. But then the waiter frowned at the screen. Actually, he said carefully, part of this table was already paid earlier tonight. Everyone looked up. What do you mean? Vanessa asked quickly. The waiter pointed toward the front counter near the entrance. An older man in a navy jacket stood there speaking quietly with the manager before reaching for his coat. The second Vanessa saw him, her confidence disappeared completely. She almost dropped her wine glass. Because I recognized him too. And if he had heard even half of what happened tonight, Vanessa was about to regret far more than the dinner bill. If you enjoy emotional revenge stories with calm comebacks and powerful endings, Justice Tales Junction brings stories where silence becomes strength and respect comes too late. Subscribe and stay for the next twist. The restaurant suddenly felt smaller. Vanessa kept staring toward the entrance like she wanted to disappear before the older man turned around completely. But it was already too late. He had seen us. Or more specifically, he had seen her. The man walked back toward the table slowly, calm and composed in a dark navy coat. The manager followed behind him with the kind of nervous respect usually reserved for important people. My stomach tightened the second I recognized him fully. It was Mr. Carter, owner of the regional marketing firm Vanessa had bragged about joining for nearly a year. The same company she constantly used to make everyone else feel inferior. Vanessa forced a smile, so quickly it looked painful. Mr. Carter, I didn't realize you were here tonight. He replied evenly. His eyes moved briefly across the table before stopping on Ethan's birthday decorations, the untouched cake, and finally the massive receipt still sitting open beside Vanessa's plate. Then he looked at me. You're Ethan's father? I nodded. Before I could answer further, Ethan suddenly spoke up from beside me. My dad paid for everybody last year too, he said innocently, but Mom said maybe this time people could help. The silence after that felt brutal. Children always say the truth without realizing how sharp it sounds. Vanessa immediately tried to laugh it off. Kids say anything, right? But Mr. Carter wasn't smiling anymore. Instead, he pulled a chair slightly back and looked directly at her. I've spent months hearing you describe yourself as independent, generous, and family-oriented, he said calmly. Interesting timing. Vanessa's husband lowered his eyes instantly. She opened her mouth twice before finally whispering, "This isn't what it looks like." But everyone at the table already knew exactly what it looked like. For years, Vanessa had controlled rooms with confidence, expensive clothes, and loud opinions. Tonight was the first time I saw what happened when confidence met quiet truth. Mr. Carter reached into his pocket, placed his business card beside my plate, then nodded toward Ethan. "Happy birthday, young man." After he walked away, nobody spoke for nearly 10 seconds. Vanessa stared down at the tablecloth while the waiter processed her card again for the remaining balance. And for the first time in years, she had absolutely nothing to say. Silence is powerful when paired with self-respect. The loudest person in the room often hides the weakest character. You don't need revenge to expose people. Sometimes calm boundaries and simple truth do it for you.